Have you ever wondered what would happen if time just stopped? I mean, for everything, everywhere, all at once. It sounds like a cool sci-fi power, but let's really dive into this because the answer is so much stranger and more mind-blowing than you could possibly imagine. So just imagine it. You have the cosmic remote control right in your hand and you hit pause. Boom! Every person, every planet, every single atom is just frozen in one eternal instant. So what would that moment actually feel like for you? And right away, we hit our first huge paradox. You see, for you to notice anything, your brain has to work. Your neurons need time to fire. Your thoughts need time to actually form. So in a universe where time is truly completely frozen, your consciousness would be frozen right along with it. There'd be no experience, no observation, just nothing. A moment that lasts forever and no time at all. Kind of wild, right?
Okay, but that's a pretty quick end to this story, isn't it? So, for the sake of the thought experiment, let's break the rules. Let's say you, and only you, get to stay conscious while the rest of the universe is put on hold. What would you see? What would you feel?
I mean, at first it would be just, wow. Absolutely breathtaking. Like you're walking through a perfect, silent 3D photograph of the entire world. The whole planet becomes a work of art. You could walk right through the middle of a chaotic scene, and it would all just be held in this impossible stillness. You're the only living thing in a static museum of existence. But that feeling of awe, it would fade really, really quickly. You'd soon realize that this beautiful, frozen world is actually a perfect prison, one that attacks the very foundations of how you perceive reality. Let's break down why. Just think about how you experience the world right now. It all comes through your senses, right? Sight, sound, touch. But here's the catch. Every single one of those senses is a process. And every process fundamentally needs time to happen. So let's start with vision. For you to see anything, the screen, your hand, anything, tiny particles of light called photons have to make a journey from that object all the way to your eyes. And what does every journey require? Time. So you can probably see where this is going. If time stops, that journey stops. Every photon in the universe freezes right where it is. Nothing moves. Nothing reaches your retinas. The world wouldn't just go dark, it would become absolute total blackness. You'd be completely blind. All right, so you can't see, but what about hearing? Well, sound works in a pretty similar way. It's a vibration, right? A wave moving through the air to get to your eardrums. And that movement, that propagation of the wave, is a process that unfolds over, you guessed it, time. With time stopped, all vibration just ceases to exist. The air molecules around you would be locked solid. This isn't just being quiet. We are talking about a perfect, profound silence that is physically impossible in our universe. The complete and total absence of all motion. And this is where it gets really unsettling, because this problem goes all the way down. Even your sense of touch would vanish. The feeling of the ground under your feet or the air on your skin, that's just the result of molecules moving and nerve signals traveling to your brain. And all those processes need time. You wouldn't feel hot or cold, you wouldn't feel pressure, you wouldn't feel anything at all. So where does that leave you? You're blind, you're deaf, and you have no sense of touch. You're basically a ghost trapped in a frozen world, totally unable to even confirm that you still have a body. An isolation so complete, it's almost impossible to comprehend. But believe it or not, it gets worse. Because, you see, the problem isn't just with your perception of reality. The problem is with reality itself. Halting time doesn't just pause the universe. It breaks the fundamental laws of physics that hold the whole thing together. So let's zoom way down to the quantum level. Atoms are mostly empty space. Their structure is held together by the frantic, nonstop motion of electrons, buzzing around, creating this energetic cloud. That motion is what gives matter its volume, its solidity. And of course, it all requires time. So, if you stop time, you stop that motion. Instantly. The kinetic energy that holds atoms apart just vanishes. And without that energy, there's nothing to stop the electromagnetic force from pulling everything together. Matter itself, every atom in the universe, would simply collapse. And from there, it's just a catastrophic domino effect. The forces that govern everything, electromagnetism, gravity, the nuclear forces, they're all processes that have to move through space-time. If you freeze the time part of space-time, they all fail at the exact same moment. The universe wouldn't just be paused, it would disintegrate into a static, fractured ruin. So the entire universe outside of you is gone. It's just a frozen soup of collapsed particles. But what about your inner world? What about that one thing we made an exception for at the beginning? Your consciousness. Even in this nightmare scenario of total physical collapse, could you still exist as a thinking being? A pure mind just floating in the void? Well, here we arrive at the final, inescapable trap. Your consciousness isn't a thing, it's an action. It is a symphony of electrical and chemical signals dancing across your brain, a story unfolding from one moment to the next. And just like every other process we've talked about, it requires time. This really gets to the heart of it. Our sense of self, who you are, is built on continuity. It's built on your memories, your experiences, and your anticipation of what's next. Without that constant flow from one moment to the next, the very concept of you just dissolves. To stop time is to stop being. Okay, so we've established that stopping time would be an absolute reality-destroying catastrophe on every level imaginable. It's a completely impossible scenario. So what was the point of even asking the question? The point is that this whole thought experiment reveals a profound truth about what time actually is. Asking if time can stop is a bit like asking if distance can stop or if the direction up can stop. It's a category error. It's the wrong kind of question to ask. Time isn't some external force that just happens to the universe. It is a fundamental dimension of the universe woven together with space itself. It's the medium that allows for everything else, for cause and effect, for change, for existence as we know it. Without the canvas, there is no painting. So, in the end, thinking about a world without time doesn't really show us the horror of stillness. It reveals the absolute miracle of flow. Every second that ticks by, every thought that forms in your head, every single breath you take, that is the universe happening. It's the very condition for light, for love, for life itself. And that leaves us with just one final thought. This constant flowing present is a gift, so how will you use it?